A 60-person session?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, so what was the membership when you sold it?
We had about 800 members when I sold. You want your sessions full. They're higher energy. They are more fun, but you also don't want like people upset that they're not able to use their membership or get in.
Most gym owners that we talk to, they're struggling. They're struggling to get bodies in the door. They're struggling to fill up. You packed out a gym in a year at a premium price point. Like, what contributed to that? Hello and welcome to Gym World Worldwide. I've missed you, Gym World. I've been gone for a few weeks, tending to the herd.
He's back. He's back.
The newest addition to the Franklin family is here, but it's not about me today, and it's not about my co-founder and partner in crime, who did a great job holding down the show, by the way, Mr. Mateo Lopez, one street away, was following along. Great job, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks.
And our guest today, Matt Skeffington of Fuel Training from New Hampshire, a state Mateo and I have not been to.
New Hampshire. Is that how you say it?
New Hampshire?
I don't think so. I don't think
No,
they have
it's a little more
accent.
Boston accent, but I mean, you can throw that in there.
But do you have one? Do you have an accent?
Not quite. We're pretty. I mean, you guys will pick up on it, but I think it's pretty simple, pretty normal.
Okay. Yeah, we'll suss it out during the show.
Pretty boring accent.
Yeah.
So Matt's got a good-looking gym. That's how we found him. Just looked like a well-oiled, well-run machine, and it turned out it was. He's maxed out his memberships in a year, and he's bringing in a pretty impressive amount of monthly revenue in that time. And so we want to bring him on, talk about what he's doing. But before we get into that, give us like the quick teaser of your background, how you ended up as owning this gym.
Yeah, my background as a baseball player growing up, and was fortunate enough to go down to IMG Academy in high school. My parents just sent me down there.
That's the Florida connection.
Yeah, and so I played ball there, and then got introduced to performance training, and just like was a good player, but strength and conditioning, my 60-yard time, just hitting, BP, just felt such a difference, and really just fell in love with training. Got hooked up with Mike Boyle, who I'm sure you guys know, just one of like the godfathers of strength and conditioning. And luckily he was about 45 minutes away. At the time, there was really no established strength and conditioning facilities. This is like, there was not as well known as him. So started training with him, then interned there, ended up at UNH with their exercise science program, got hired at a facility in New Hampshire that was one of the only kind of sports performance focused facilities. And long story short, ended up buying the facility, and it was massive. It was like 9,000 square feet. And I took it over with about 80 members. And I'm like, all right, how are we going to change and fill and grow this gym? So we really pushed the focus onto the adult group training. And we went from in an 8-year span, 80 members to 800 members. And then I ended up selling it. I had a member who fell in love with it, and she wanted to open a gym, and the timing was right. It was about a year or two after COVID. And I was like, if we can agree on a price, and it was just nice, took some time off. But I think our struggle was always the personalization of our sessions. We had sessions of sometimes 60, 70 people. It was controlled chaos, great community and environment, but it was tough to coach it well. You're always just kind of like herding cattle, you're like a chicken with your head cut off trying to coach.
A 60-person session?
Yeah. It was.
Wait, so what was the membership when you sold it? I
can't even envision this.
We had about 800 members when I sold, and we were able to, once COVID hit, we had to like scale things back and get it really like systemized, and people actually had to sign up for their sessions. It was like I said, it was controlled chaos pre-COVID. COVID was actually did a lot of good for us. And it's like, all right, we need to just make a more repeatable model. We need to know who's coming, how many are coming. We got to have the right amount of coaches and equipment. You just make all the mistakes early on. So COVID hit, we brought our classes back to, I think we ended up at 48 per session with 4 coaches on every session. So we did like a 1-to-12 ratio. The facility was just so big that it allowed for such massive groups of members. But again, it always came back to like, if I were to do this again, or if we were to open a second location, like we can't do this again. It's just such a monster in terms of the marketing and the selling to replace the people who leave. And I always toyed around with like a second location before selling. And it was, the thought was always to move to a small group personal training model, which is now Fuel. So, been in the industry for a while, owned our old gym for 8 years. Fuel is now like the evolution of like all the mistakes, all the learning, all the experiences, and keeping that group energy and fun, which is really important. But now we can really coach it well and train a little bit of an older demographic who needs a little bit more tailoring, support, hands-on than, your more of your boot camp style of, people in their 30s and 40s.
It's funny. We started in a gym that was the size of yours now. So my first gym was around that 2,000 square foot mark. And the dream was always to open like one massive one. And then through running this show, every person we've talked to who had like a massive strength and conditioning studio, the next thing they open is like a 2,000 square foot facility. It's like you learn. So you're not an overnight. This isn't your first rodeo. You've gotten your scars. You've learned the hard way.
For sure.
All right, cool. And so sold the gym, took a year off, opened it up. Tell me about the concept. Obviously, we know it's a little smaller, but what are you doing in there?
Yeah, it's small. We're about 2,500 square feet. So we're running a small group personal training model. We have 8 members per session, a max of 8, and then we have 2 coaches on. So we, can have that 1-to-4 ratio, but, we run about 55-minute sessions, and we have offerings of either 2 or 3 times a week. So members come in, they book their sessions online. They come in, we build a little back end profile on each member that our coaches are assigned to. Your pre-session kind of work is to get in there initially and see who's coming in. And then we build out our list, which is like, what's our plan for the day? What are our injuries, our modification, who's new, who's a trial? So we do a lot more prep work with Fuel, just trying to deliver a much more personalized, focus, just a better overall experience for our members is what we're doing. And it's a good mix of things, of strength training, conditioning, warm-ups, cool downs. And our demographic is that 45 to 65-year-old who's like, I need to get healthy. I need to get started. I need to get going. Our whole mantra really as a team is like, how do we make it easy for people to start, to come in with literally no fitness background or very limited? And then how do we make it so fun and so supportive and bring that level of guidance and community that like, it's just so easy to stick to. So that's like that's our main focus. Make it easy to start, make it easy for them to stick with it and, fall in love with it.
So it's 2 coaches during the hour.
Yep.
And how are you doing prep for the early morning ones? Are these are you doing them the night before? Do reservations close after a certain point so you know who's coming? Like, how are you doing that?
Yeah, reservations close about 30 minutes before the session, but most people in that morning time, like they're already booked, that it's rare that somebody's like last minute and coming in. But so our coaches come in a half hour early. The first 10 minutes is 5 or 10 minutes is like dedicated to facility prep, which is all taken care of. Our coaches at night do everything, cleaning, equipment set up for the morning. You should just literally turn the lights on and we're ready to go. And then from there, it's communication between the coaches. They go through every single session for that shift, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're writing out who are our people who are going to need changes, who are going to need modifications and injuries. We color code our members. So we have a green, which is like your highest fitness level. They don't really need any changes. They need great coaching. They need progression. We got to make sure they're making progress and they're challenged. We have yellow, which is like, they're learning the ropes, they're getting better. Maybe they have maybe they're high fitness level, but they have a bad knee that we need to modify for. And then we have our reds, which is lower fitness level, low new experience, injury, trial. Those reds are going to get most of your modifications. So they get in, they write out their list of like, who are the people, what are the changes that we need to make to personalize it. And then, it's kind of lights, camera, action. And between sessions, we're going back, looking at the list and just communicating as coaches. Like, hey, don't forget, Deborah needs the box for her push-up, or don't forget, she's not lunging. This is what she's doing. So just working hard to try to get better at making it it feels like real personal training within this nice little community.
I think that's got to be the key, because I'm trying to figure out how you're justifying the price point. And with that kind of an experience, it makes sense, because I've been to some of these recently where it's a 1-to-6 or 1-to-8, and it hasn't. Some of the gyms I've dropped into haven't. it's been missing that piece. And I think that's what you're talking about. It's like, okay, well, we have a dossier of everyone who's coming in and we're fully prepped before. So I think that's definitely sounds important to you, an important piece to your success so far. I think.
So you're saying it feels more like a small group class rather than small group personal training is what you're saying, Teo? In the ones that you haven't enjoyed as much?
Yes, correct. And the ones that I've experienced, it's just been exactly right. It's like no different than another class. It's just less people.
That's just it. Is like some people come in, they're like, well, I've done CrossFit and it was $189 a month, and there was 6 people in my class. And like in my mind, I'm like, there were 6 people in your class because like they don't have enough members to fill the gym. It's not
Mike
6
Boyle
because,
disciple just needs to take a jab at CrossFit. It's not going to go a whole podcast without doing a little something there.
I think that's totally fair. I mean, I've dropped in a lot of CrossFits lately, and even then, like, it's the attendance is not as high as it used to be, and it ends up being like a 6 person class, like you're saying. And you would think in that environment you should be getting. There's not really an excuse to not be able to go around every person,
exactly.
know, and
that's
not
the problem. Is they still, and I'm not pointing. It could be any fitness concept. If you're
it's all right, you can take
like,
jabs. It's fine. We're
yeah.
You want to do your thing,
If it's still just like, hey, the whiteboard, your warm-up's on the whiteboard, go do those things, and then get yourself set up. Now it's still group fitness, so it's like pulling back and figuring out what does personal training consist of. It's like your person comes in, they're scheduled, they walk in, you greet them by name. Hey, how are you doing today? You start to get a feel for how are they feeling that day? Do I need to make any adjustments? How are your workouts going? How's that knee feeling? So that's the things that we're doing, these soft touch things that are very personal as they come in, as the workout starts, during the warm up, to then, hey, what do we need to adjust? Or it's like, all right, it's time to go. Let's push. Or do we need to pull back? And these little things are how you build connection, and also how you really like personalize this small group setting.
And not to belabor this point, but I do think that's what you're saying is that piece of like, yes, you'll go into some of these classes, the workouts on the whiteboard, they're giving you you're running through the program for the day, and they're giving you scaling options, but they're not actually saying, well, which of the scaling options is the one that I should be having today based on how I'm feeling and what's going on with me. And that's, I think, the missing piece. It's like, yeah, it's all scalable. Anyone can do it. It's like, yeah, but you need that direction of which one of these options is the right one today.
Right. Members should not be deciding, oh, I can't do that, I'm going to do this. Or you can't jump, do this. You can coach that when you're doing your demos, but then it's like, before you even start, it's like, hey, Susie, this is what you're doing. Hey, Tim, here's your weight. Let me hand it to you. And it's all kind of done for them.
Hey, gym owners, are you looking for a way to generate more leads, close more sales, and increase client retention? Introducing Kilo. We are a software company that gives gym owners the tools they need to increase revenue and run a successful gym. With Kilo, you get a beautifully designed website to capture more leads, an integrated marketing automation platform to increase sales, and our gym management software so you can add new client memberships, process payments, and organize your class schedule. If you're ready to upgrade your gym management software, book a call at usekilo.com.
So Teo mentioned the price point. Did we talk about it on the show? What do you charge?
So we average $35 to $43 per session is what it comes out to. So our monthly memberships, which really are like every 4 weeks, so they'll get an allotment of either 8 or 12 sessions every 4 weeks, ranges between $349 and $420 per month or every 4-week period. So we're in that $35 to $43 per session. We do some one-on-one training, very limited because we have so many small group sessions, and we are $89 to over $100 per session, which is really consistent with the pricing in our Bedford area. And that's what we explain to people. And it's like, if someone comes in, they're like, oh, I've done personal training for 3 years. They come to Fuel, and it's like, it's a no-brainer because they understand the price point of like what they used to pay and what they used to get in terms of like motivation and push. It usually turns into kind of like a chatty Cathy session. And then, I explain it like that, like, hey, personal training, this is what it looks like. This is the price. Orange Theory, boot camp, one coach, 30 people. Here's what your pricing looks like. We've taken those two worlds and we've brought them together, and our pricing and membership fits right in between those, in those two models.
You're at about 2,500 square feet is what I believe we have here. And in our notes, it says you're maxed out or pretty close to maxed out on membership. So what are you capping the the gym at?
We're at 200 members now, which is full. Our session rate in terms of occupancy is right in like that 80, depending on the week, 80 to 90%. We don't want a situation where it's like everything is full and like new people come in. That's where we're at now, is like people want to come in and try it. So we're going to start to build out a little bit of a wait list, because like you go to them and they're like, can I come in next week? I'm like, I can add you to the wait list. And so it's like trying to find that healthy balance of like, you want your sessions full. They're higher energy. They are more fun, but you also don't want like people upset that they're not able to use their membership or get in. And at the same time, there's a level of accountability to our members of like, hey, they do fill quickly. So get in there and make sure you're scheduling your sessions out in advance to secure your spot, which is, I think, healthy for people to like, you're paying this much, use it, stay accountable.
If I buy the 12 a month or 12 every 4 weeks, do I have to go to like Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays at 8, or is it I can still choose whatever time during the day?
Yeah, good question. You can choose anytime. Every, Monday, every session is going to be the same. So a lot of people are pretty consistent with their times. It's just for work or whatever, easier to build a habit, but they have the ability to choose whatever. If they're 3 days a week, it could be any 3 days, anytime.
Most gym owners that we talk to, they're struggling. They're struggling to get bodies in the door. They're struggling to fill up. You packed out a gym in a year at a premium price point. Like, what contributed to that? Was any of your previous gym, like the success of your previous gym, did that contribute to it? Or, is there a different, like, was this a different clientele starting from scratch? Like how'd you do this?
Yeah, I mean, the old gym helped in our start significantly. We pre-sold about 75 memberships, and 75 pre-sold memberships, 74 of them were people that I've worked with. So, your reputation really matters. And it was close. It was far enough that it was, outside of our non-compete, but it was close enough that people who were kind of in between, it was kind of a no-brainer for them. So that was huge. And then, we put such an emphasis on the details of the session, the way that we connect with members, the coaching, the way we move, the little things of how the facility looks, the cleanliness, the way they're greeted at the front door. So yes, the workouts are great. Yes, the equipment is top notch. The facility's clean. It's like we check all those like level one customer service things, but I think what sets us apart and our competitive advantage is really centered around the environment, the energy, the connections with the members. We've just solely focused on the product, nothing else. And since our pre-sale, we haven't spent $1 on advertising. It's all been Instagram, Facebook, referrals, and it's just organically, month after month. We have probably 3 to 5 trials per week, and the objection is typically, it's a price objection. It's typically like, I love it, sign me up. And then they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't think I can afford that. So
maybe another way of asking it, when people are calling for that trial and you're like, how'd you hear about us? What are they saying?
They are saying, my friend goes there. They're saying, I saw you on social media. We're in a really good location. We're right next to the only, I think it's the only post office in our town. So it's just such a volume of people. So it's like, oh, I was walking by, I heard the music and poked in. We have a strength focus. And I think it's been nice to hear, especially females. We're probably 70% females of like, I need to start strength training. I need to get stronger. When I opened the old gym back in 2000, or when I bought it in 2014, it was a lot of like, I need to lose weight, cardio. And I think there's been this nice, people are really starting to catch on with the importance of getting stronger.
And I guess like, what do you think you're doing that's allowed you to narrow down on your avatar, which is this kind of like over 40 kind of group? I think that's, a demographic that a lot of gym owners are after, because these are people who have a little bit more money to spend and they can afford personal training or small group and things like that. So what do you think you're doing that's allowing you to, really attract those types of people?
Just trying to be like really clear with our messaging on our marketing of who we are, who we help, the problems that we solve, our pictures our success stories, our educational content. We try to really center around over 40, strength, bone health, longevity. We do a lot of success stories. We do a lot of testimonials, and just share that. Like for us, I think social proof is everything. If somebody else can see the lady who's struggled her whole life to be in a workout routine, she comes in and drops 20 pounds. That market is wildly more massive than the market of people who are already really fit and 50. And we're not trying to like pull people out of other gyms. Fuel is helping the person who's struggled to start their entire lives to get consistent. So that's our market. Is not like you're already training really hard, come to Fuel, it's going to be awesome and more better coaching and intense. Like, we're not really speaking to those people. We're speaking to a crowd of people who like, I want to feel better, I want to get healthier, I want to lose weight, I've tried everything, I don't know where to start. And that's kind of we're just trying to I'm just trying to beat that message over and over and over, and just trying to be consistent with it.
So are you doing anything to push referrals?
We were initially. We've slowed down a bit because of just our membership level and where we're at. So we would do some incentives initially. We do a little welcome gift for every new member, and in that welcome gift, we give a 14-day free pass to give to a friend or a loved one, and that's been huge. We get a lot of like, hey, my husband is ready to come in. I gave it to my sister. So those have worked really well. And then we've done some incentives around like cost reduction early on. We did a lot of referral stuff, but we haven't had to like lately push it just because of where our numbers are at now.
So is the current offer a 7-day free trial where
Yep.
someone calls and wants to get started?
Yeah.
So you mentioned kind of the little touches, right? The small details that have kind of allowed you to, show that this is a different experience. What you're paying for is different, right? So maybe tell us a little bit about what goes on in that 7-day trial process where you're really making sure that you're going to convert this person at the end.
Yeah, I think it starts with like the first contact. They reach out to us, they'll submit their information. It's like, we got to be quick to get to them. And then I think it all starts on the phone of like setting the tone of, listening, asking great questions. That's kind of the gist of our phone conversation is like, what have you been doing? What have you tried? Where are you struggling? What are your goals? You join something like Fuel. How do you want to feel? Digging a little bit deeper and not just like, I want to lose weight, but like, why? What's the why behind it? Trying to get that like emotional response out of them. And then we kind of try to paint a picture of what Fuel is about. And it's not about, setting records your first day. It's about, coming in and getting comfortable. Most of these people are coming in and they've really never done anything like this before. So whatever we can do to like reduce anxiety around coming in that first day is what I'm trying to do on the phone in terms of my description, my questions, my tone. And then when they come in, it's like, we have a whole plan. We have their welcome sign is at the front desk. We have a coach ready there to greet them. We give them a tour, their water, their towel. Hey, this is how we introduce them to fellow members. And hey, Debbie, do you have any advice for Kim here? It's her first day. And just trying to build connection and rapport right away. I think as soon as they walk in the door, they can feel the environment. Like, we've all been to those businesses where you walk in and like either the employee's heads down and they're on their phone, or there's nobody there. So like that first impression is massive and really matters to like, they feel the culture, they feel the positivity. This is a place where, wow, I don't have to feel intimidated. And then it's like hand holding. It's just phenomenal coaching. We introduce them to the group. We regress all their movements and just make them feel really empowered and like, yeah, I can do this. So like the coaching is a massive piece of it. And then, the follow-up process is coaches will go into our Slack communication and be like, hey, Debbie had her first trial. Here's everything that we did. Here's how she felt. Here's the impression that I got, so that when they come in for their second trial, it's like we can just hand the torch to the next coach and they know exactly what to expect, what to regress, what are their injuries, and they can get the same repeatable, consistent experience that second time. It doesn't feel different just because I'm coaching it and somebody else coached them last time. They get the, rinse and repeat. It has to feel it and be the exact same. And we're trying to sell them prior to their 7-day ending. We don't want it to like end and then it's like, oh, hey, do you want to join? So in the early stages, it was like, try the session, hey, you did phenomenal. How do you feel? Oh, I felt amazing. Your coaches are so fun. Awesome. You want to keep that momentum rolling? Let's get you started with half off your first month. Typically we do stuff like that just to, let's get them in. And once they're in, they're in. We don't have to be so aggressive now, but it's a really good approach of like, don't wait. Like they're on a high, they're feeling great. Like hey, your next trial is still on us, but like, let's get you signed up so you can keep that momentum going and start booking your sessions. And hey, here's a discount to get you going. It's like, it works really well.
So it's not so much of like a formal sit down at the end. It's more just like, we got to get it ready before it ends. We got to sell them.
Hammering them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't do like any like traditional, hey, come in your first session and let's sit down and talk. Let's do an FMS screen. We ask that we have really pointed questions in the beginning. I have questions on the phone that I relay into Slack before they get there so we can have as much information as we can. But I don't think people want to be put on like a movement screen and it's like, it feels awkward. It's like clunky. It's time consuming. It's like, no, let's just get them in and let's just get them going. Let's get them touching the equipment, feeling the experience, seeing the coaches, feeling the energy and the music of the room. Like that's the stuff that's selling them, not how high they can raise their leg. Right.
No, yeah, for sure. I guess when are they finding out about the price? So like, when are you handling those objections?
Right. Typically right away, like when they first inquire, I'll be like, so just to give you some, information on our memberships, our session, personal training is this, group fitness is this, here is where fuel is, our price per session is X. You want to rule out those people who are like, absolutely not. I'm looking for like a Planet Fitness type thing or price point, which is good. You don't want them coming in necessarily. But if people are on the fence, it's like, no, just come in, no pressure. And hopefully the experience will push them to see the value in that if they don't really understand it. We've had success with both, but I think, yeah, our main objection is always the price point. And I think that's healthy. That's what you want. If everyone's saying yes, you're like, you need to raise your rates essentially.
So we'll cover staffing here because I know we talked. You have up to 2 coaches per session, right? That's what we discussed. Mm-hmm. How many to run a 200 member facility like this? What does the staff layout look like?
So we have a GM who's coaching about 20 hours a week. He's handling, he's more of like a daily ops manager than I would say your traditional GM, just because I'm still handling a lot of the marketing and sales. But he's, his job is like overseeing the team, the program design, the daily operations in terms of the facility, the supplies, just making sure like we can run and everything's taken care of and the coaching is fantastic. And so he leads like the training, the staff meetings. We have 2 other full-time coaches as well. And then we have a handful of part-time coaches part-time coaches are in like the 10 to 15, 20 hours a week range.
Everyone paid hourly or are your full-time guys salaried?
Full-time or salary. And then, they'll, typically take on some type of additional offering or program, a nutrition program where they can, they're bonused off the revenue of that, or like an athletic development program. We do a little bit of that. So trying to like include them into other things that they're interested in where they can make additional, fuel grows, they grow at the same time, which is great. But yeah, our part-time are hourly and our full-time coaches are salaried.
And how do you keep it so clean?
It's a big lift.
It is a big lift. Okay. Yeah. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's massive. So our coaches are in charge of facility cleaning, really. We have a professional cleaning crew that comes in every 4 weeks and they, steam the turf, they machine wash the floors. But after our morning shift, we're in charge of a full clean of the facility. This includes like full vacuum, full wipe down of any piece of equipment that was used that day. The lobbies get Swiffered. The entire rubber floor gets Swiffered. The bathrooms get fully cleaned. Everything is tidied and like rinse and repeat, and we're ready to go. And then that happens again at the end of the night shift. So the last session ends, and then it's a full clean of the facility from, top to bottom, floors, equipment, restrooms. And that way, it's really important for us for that 5 a.m. group. They have to wake up early. It's a grind. You're tired. Let's make the focus the members, not setting up the workout, deciding what to do. Having to set up equipment would be a huge pain for our team. So at night, there's definitely more work in terms of we got to clean this entire facility. We got to set up for the morning. So these guys work hard. Our team is they're in it. They're passionate, but they are one of the hardest working teams when it comes into the cleaning and the details of our session and facility. And it pays dividends, man. How many members come in like, I can't believe how clean it is. The design, the branding, I love being here because I think people like to be like, you go to a nice coffee shop. It's like, you just like being in that environment. So that's what we try to kind of recreate.
It looks clean and it looks intentional. Like I get the vibe that it's nice from the photos. You could tell some effort went into it. So, and I get that. Like there's certain, it's kind of like an intangible, like vibe. And sometimes it comes through on the picture, sometimes it doesn't. But that's cool to hear.
We want people to walk in and just be like, these guys care, right? Like they walk in and the little things, the mini fridge is fully stocked and all the labels everything's lined up, everything's facing the same way. It just shows like they got their act together and they really care. And I think those little details of what we do lend themselves into kind of everything that we do and our approach to our sessions, how we change the volume and the music and the warm up from low so we can coach it really well to the intensity builds and the music builds. Like everything is very intentional to create a little better experience, and just a little detail that if they go to a gym down the road, yeah, they're going to do probably the same workouts. They're going to goblet squat. They're going to do push-ups and trap bar deadlifts. But how's it going to be coached? How's the environment? How many times is the coach going to use their name? How hands-on is the coach? How's the vibe? Like, these are the things that I think us as gym owners really need to think about, is like, that's the advantage. That's the competition. That's a competitive advantage against them just doing it for cheaper, down the road with the same equipment and like the same workouts.
And is this all written down somewhere? Like a checklist for the water bottles have to be turned a certain way, and then yeah.
And it's stuff that we hammer home in terms of our training. So we have a Google Doc we call the Fuel Playbook, which is really broken up into systems of documenting, facility layout, the kettlebells on the rack, the cleaning, the way that we greet members. Then it gets more like into the coaching of like, this is how you start the warm up. These are the steps, the 10 steps to leading a great warm up. This is how you demonstrate the exercises, your eye contact with the group, you getting over to the assistant coach and getting your hands on them and pointing out, all right, the knee position. It's like these little things that's just like, you could just be like, all right, goblet squats, put the bell on your chin and squat. It's like, how do we take this and just make it a little bit better? It's kind of the Disney plussing model that we, really try to apply to Fuel.
And how do you greet a member?
Well, within 5 seconds, they are greeted by name with enthusiasm. So that's our mission. As soon as they walk in the door, you have 5 seconds, regardless of where you are in the facility, whether you're coaching, it's their name, eye contact, and, enthusiasm.
So in an effort to keep these podcasts shorter so people actually listen to them end to end, where can people go to where can people go to find you?
Our Instagram handle is Fuel Personal Training, and then our website is fuelpersonaltrainingnh.com. Our site it needs some updating. We just had some photos done that we're going to be updating the content and the photos. So Instagram gives you a phenomenal snapshot into what Fuel's about in the day-to-day. That's where most people find us, and they'll come in and be like, I'm like, is this what you expected to be like? They're like, yeah, I've been watching you guys on Instagram for, 3 months. And so that's where you'll, the story and the posts and things like that, you'll get a good check on the kind of the vibe of Fuel.
And Matteo, where's a great place to go if your website needs some updating?
Yeah, Matt mentioned that his website needs some updating. If you're like him and your website needs some updating, go to usekilo.com and get yourself a beautifully designed website with top-notch customer support. They can help you make changes, update it whenever you need. And you don't have to worry about SEO, right? People just find you, just like they find Matt, right? And then if you need help with the people who do find your website and opt in and want to learn a little bit more about your gym, you need help with that sales and lead flow management, get yourself some Gym Lead Machine. It's another one of our service offerings that we have, one of our products. And then lastly, if you need help scheduling those members, getting them booked into sessions, charging them for that $350 every 4 weeks membership, just like Matt. You can get our gym management software as well. We can help you take care of that. Go to usekilo.com to find out more.
Matt, thanks for making the time to do this. It was awesome. You can definitely tell you sweat the small stuff, and it sounds like it's paying off for you. And listeners, you sweat the small stuff too. And that's why you're listening to the Gym World podcast. You get to learn from guys like Matt, who've been in the trenches grinding for 15, 20 years, and you just get to steal all his best ideas and implement them in your gym. So if you like that, buy Kilo, because the show's not cheap to do. Until next week, Gym World, we love you.